It's important to remember that not all ciao bellas are created equal. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Arlene. If you're new here, I am an American woman of a certain age who moved to Rome, Italy in 2008. I recently moved to Milan, and on this channel we discuss all things Italiano, lifestyle, and St. Martin and Anguilla. Please excuse the old school mic. My microphone is broken, which I did not realize till after I posted my other video. But anyway, today we're going to talk about dating in Italy. This is a subject that comes up all the time. People ask me about it all the time. I think I will do a separate video about being an older woman trying to navigate dating now because the pool is so shallow. Okay, again, that's another video for another time. But today, let's talk about Italy. So when I first moved here, I had moved from Los Angeles, where everybody was on dating apps. Back then, there was no Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, Raya. I'm trying to think. Those were not out yet, but we had OkCupid, Match.com. Let's see, there was eHarmony, Craigslist. I was having a aperitivo with my friends Gian Piero and Chiara, and they are Italian, but they had lived in Los Angeles, and New York, and we're now back here living in Italy. So we were having aperitivo, and I said to them, "So what's the story with dating apps here? Are they really popular?" And they looked at me like I had two heads. They said, "Why would anybody be on a dating app?" They're like, "Dating apps are for losers." Granted, this was a while ago. I said, "Oh, I don't think so. In Los Angeles, everybody's on a dating." They said, "Yeah, that's LA. That's not here." They're like, "This is a very social culture." I said, "Well, how do people meet each other? How do people, connect?" And they said, they go out, they meet through friends, it's not that difficult. And I said, "Well," oh, they were saying to me, people have friends here since kindergarten, et cetera, et cetera. The friends groups are really tight. And also, you have your family. I said, "Well, what if somebody's not from Rome, right? Somebody, an Italian from Puglia or Tuscany, they moved to Rome for work or for school. Like, how are they supposed to meet someone? Wouldn't they get on the dating apps?" Again, they looked at me like I had two heads. Like, "What are you talking about?" They said, and slowly, as if I did not understand English, Arlene, their friends in their hometown would say, "Once you get to Rome, look up so and so." Or before they even get to Rome, they have a list of people that they should meet. They really could not wrap their head around this idea of dating through apps or online dating. It just seemed so crazy to them. And that the only people who were really doing this were people who were into a very specific kind of thing, if you understand what I'm saying, or they're just looking for hookups. So since then, obviously, online dating apps have become more popular in Italy. I talked to some of my younger friends, they're on the apps, but I don't know. I know in the States they're having issues with women not signing up enough for the apps, and people saying they're getting off the apps and want to get back into meeting people in real life. I'm not really sure how it is in Italy, but I do remember my friends back then, not just those two friends, everybody saying, "Yeah, the guys that are on the apps, not quality. No, they're looking for hookups." And I think now, I don't know. I know a few people who have met through apps, but that was 10 years ago or something. I can't speak to what the culture is like today. So if you come here and you want to just like hook up, yeah, I think you just open up your Bumble, switch your location, have fun, be safe. But as far as looking for a long-term relationship or somebody you want to have in your life as like a partner, I can't really speak on the apps. I'm not on the apps. I was on the apps briefly when I lived in Rome, and I can't. I again, that has to be a separate video. No, not for me. maybe for others, but not for me, because also we have to add the element of race into it. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, why does everything have to be about race? But yeah, that plays into it as well, and I will circle back to that in a second. When I said earlier, not all ciao bellas are created equal, I I think sometimes, and I'm speaking of, mostly North American women, because most of the couples I know here are American women or North American women with Italian men, or men that they met here in Italy who are not necessarily Italian. Like one of my friends, she's American, her husband's American. They went to the same university but did not meet until they were both living in Rome, which is very funny because then they found out they have all these mutual friends in common. So I don't know that many American men who moved to Italy alone. It's just, they're just not that many. It's mostly women. So anyway, so that's why if it sounds like I'm talking about mostly about women, and also most of the women are straight women. I'm sure there are gay women who move to Italy alone as well. But I am talking about mostly straight women, but some of this applies to just dating in general, regardless of gender or preferences. So, anyway, people flirt here. They just flirt for the sake of flirting. It reminds me of the Caribbean. People just flirt like it's normal. It's like drinking, I don't know, coffee or drinking water. But especially in the States, like flirting is kind of like a lost art, or we don't really flirt, or it's seen as a means to an end. And then you had men saying things like, oh, because of me too, I can't even compliment a woman. I can't flirt. But if you are confusing flirting or complimenting somebody with harassment, that is a you problem, not the Me Too movement problem. And so I think sometimes people get their heads turned around when they come here, because you have like these very attractive people flirting with you and you're like, oh my God, they're in love with me. They want to marry me. I'm the one. No, 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 no. Don't read too much into it. Just go with the flow. Again, have fun, be safe. But yeah, like I think sometimes we take things too literally or something, just because it's not part of our culture. So yeah, that guy, he says ciao bella to everybody. So you just have to slow down. Do not read into things. I think, sometimes certain social cues are misunderstood because it is a different culture than the United States. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying it's different, and that's something to keep in mind. Which brings me to the whole, like I said, people reading into things. So there's this stereotype that I'm not sure how it started. Well, I have a theory about how it started. So anyway, when I first came to Italy on vacation, I cannot tell you how many people said, oh my gosh, you're going to have an amazing time because Italians love black women. Italians love black women, blah, blah, blah. This is my theory. Well, first of all, everybody always talks about Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is not Italian. He is a Franco-Italian American. I don't believe he's ever lived in Italy. He did not grow up in Italy. I believe his paternal grandfather was from Italy. Yeah, and also Robert De Niro is one person. He's not like the entire male population of Italy. So this is what I think happened, especially if Sister Girl was from Los Angeles. All right, so you are living in a culture where the stats say, when it comes to like online dating, who's the most desirable, black women and Asian men are like not ranking very high, right? So you are just living your life, trying to do your thing, and then you go to Italy, or maybe you go to France, wherever. You are not considered that attractive in the United States the further away you are from European beauty standards. So it must really do your head in when you actually go to Europe and you are considered attractive. People are trying to talk to you. I'm not saying like the gross, well, circle back to that. I'm saying like genuinely interested in you, complimenting you. Oh, ciao bella, blah, blah, blah. Or say bellissima, da, da. So I think they then go back and tell all their friends, oh my gosh, but Italian men love black women. No, I think they just love women, period. French men just love women, period. I think it's not about that. For me, I don't think it's a compliment if an Italian person is saying they never date other Italians. Like that, to me, that's not a flex. I think that's weird. Like when black men say they never date black women, I have no issue with interracial dating. It's like who you love is who you love. But when you exclude somebody from your same ethnicity, your same nationality, your same, that's a little strange to me. Like you've met every single person, like, and you decided like, oh no, you can't, like, do you hate your mom? Do you hate your dad? Do you hate your sisters? Do you hate your brothers? Like, what's up with that? So I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's a flex. I'm not like attracted by some Italian man saying to me, I never date Italian women because they're too this or they're too that. I much prefer to date Americans. Like, no, then it's not really about me. It's just, I'm American. And to expand on that, one time I was in Rome and this guy, and he was actually quite cute. He was on a motorino and he reversed, came all the way back up a one-way street to tell me like, you know, you're so beautiful, you're so this, blah, blah, blah. I did have a cute outfit on that day. And then he said to me, oh, it's always been my hope to be with a black American woman. And I looked at him and said, well, you keep hope alive because it's not happening. And I walked away and he's like, oh, you won't give me your number? It's like, absolutely not. And kept it moving. Like, I don't want to be somebody's fetish. Like, if that's your thing, like, go look elsewhere. And I remember there was this New York Times article that came out that talked about, you know, how all these black women were, you know, dating and marrying. Well, it was interesting because in Italy, you know, there are all these issues of racism. So how does that work? It's such a complicated issue and there's so many nuances that cannot be covered in a single article. But it was funny that so many people emailed that article to me. And I said, okay, why are you emailing this to me? I said, for me, I don't think it's about that. I mean, if there's some men, I'm sure maybe that's their thing, that's what they've always wanted. I'm not interested because then again, it's not about me as a person or my values, my personality, how I look. It's just you're into like, yeah, no, that's a fetish and I'm not interested in that. It would be the same as me saying, oh, I only want to date Italian men because Italian men are this, that, and that. Like, that's not, nobody wants, I mean, unless you're a pick me, and a pick me is somebody who, like, they don't care about that stuff. They just want to be chosen and they will do anything to be chosen, even if it's something that's a negative or something. Like, you find that a lot, you know, with, if you're talking about a serious subject that impacts women and then you have women come in like on social media and they're like, no, I disagree. And they're very male centered and they're very like, oh, I don't have any female friends because I can't be hanging around females. First of all, anybody that uses that word in that way, I'm like, So you do find the women who will say, you know, they don't care. They don't care like that it's a fetish thing. They're just happy to be chosen. And I'm just saying that's just, you know, not for me. For me, that would be a major red flag. I think it's also important to, if you meet someone, yeah, do your homework. You know, we have Google. Find out a little bit more about them because, yeah, people leave out important information. Like you meet somebody through friends, your friends can say, hey, this person is great. You know something about them. Wonderful. Yeah, do some research, ask questions. One time I was leaving tennis lessons and this guy was trying to talk to me and said, he was a nice person. He's like, oh, we should go get a coffee, blah, blah, blah. And I said something like, I said, first of all, because I saw a baby seat in the car, I said, oh, are you single? He's like, it's complicated. Yeah, no. Again, I'm not judging, but for me, I was like, yeah, no. One way people meet here, obviously, is through friends. And one of my friends had a dinner party because she wanted to introduce me to some of her friends. And there was this guy there that she made a point of saying, you two should meet. And we were talking. He was very nice. He said, you know, I think I'd been living in Rome for about a year. And he said, oh, we should go and, you know, get coffee or something. And, back then, Facebook was still, the thing. And, you friend each other on Facebook. That's fine. So I was looking at his Facebook page and I was shocked because this person belonged to one of the most far right political parties. Like I think in America it would be like the equivalent of the KKK if they actually had like seats in assemblies and Congress. And I'm thinking to myself, are you for real? Like, no, I'm not going to go out with this person. And then I'm looking at his photos, and it was so interesting because there was like some kind of get together, a cookout, and there was this woman, a black woman. And I know we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but she had like the colored contacts, which to me, okay, really bad weave. And she's up there all hugged up with some guy who also belongs to this party, and the comments below are fascinating. So that would be a really bad version of a pick me. I don't know why she would feel remotely comfortable in that environment. So all this to say, be careful on the apps because yeah, some people lie. Like they're married, but they don't tell you that. Check politics. Yeah, I know in America we're like, oh, don't talk about politics. You don't talk about politics, religion, or money. Yeah, we talk about all those three things here, and they're important to know. Think about it. Would you date this person if you had met in the States, you both were American? If the answer is no, do not date that person. I cannot tell you how many American women I have met who have like law degrees from like Ivy League schools, and then they hook up with like a cop or a carpenter, and then they're salty because they're not evenly yoked. Like you knew what he was when you met him. You can't be mad at him. Like I don't know. The friends I have here who are in stable, wonderful relationships, American women married to Italian men. A lot of them met in law school. A few were here studying, getting their masters. Others met through friends. One friend, she had graduated college, was on a post-university trip to Italy. One of her friends, where she went to school, she's from Canada. He is Italian. They met here. She ends up moving here. I mean, there are a lot of those kind of stories. So they have something in common. Yeah, there are going to be cultural differences, and that makes sense. But there has to be some core values. There has to be something that you share with this person. It can't be just about they're good looking. And Italian's a very beautiful language. It truly is. It's gorgeous. So how do people meet? In my experience, a lot of people meet through friends. They meet through activities. If you're into hiking, there are all these hiking groups. There's tennis clubs. One of my friends met her boyfriend at a club. Like she went out dancing with a group of friends, met him there. You can meet in Italian class because there are people from all over the world who are studying Italian. Dating here is not the same as the States. I mean, some of that culture is trickling over here, but not really. So don't bring that. Don't bring that with you here. If the guy is the one who is asking you out, they will pay. If you are asking them out, you should be prepared to pay. You probably won't. But the thing is, it's like you are extending the invitation. Whoever extends the invitation should pay. To me, that's pretty simple, okay? This whole going Dutch and then doing tests, like the guy pretending to wait to see if you pull out your wallet. If you don't pull out your wallet, you haven't passed the test, you're a gold digger. That's like a lot of American toxic, crazy dating behavior. Like that's not really a thing. Again, you may go out with friends and not even realize that you're actually dating. Like this is your person because you're getting to know each other as friends. That's fine. Coffee dates. I know in the States there's a whole thing about, oh, you can't do coffee dates because that means the guy's really not that interested in you because he's not willing to spend more money to get to know you. Again, do not bring that nonsense here. You can definitely go for a coffee date. You can go for a gelato date. You can go for a aperitivo. Also, keep in mind, unless you're dating some super wealthy dude, like people, the salaries here are much lower. People are not going to spend that kind of money They're not going to go to like a super nice restaurant with someone they don't know, they just met. Why? And then you're stuck at this dinner with somebody that, like, no. Like, you are going to get to know each other first and then go from there. Again, I'm generalizing, not saying this is everyone, but I've noticed that dating here doesn't seem to be as transactional. It doesn't seem to be as stressful. People actually have fun. Like, people go out on dates to have fun. It's not a job interview. Whereas in the States, it very much feels like an interview, whole thing about like, what do you bring to the table? Are you a high value woman? You know what? That's nonsense. Who has time for that? Isn't the whole point of dating to get to know someone? I was set up with a friend of mine's ex-boyfriend, and she had a dinner party. We sat next to each other. So afterwards, I was asking her a million questions about him, and she said, why are you asking me all these questions about him? She said the whole point of dating is discovery, to discover this person. She's Italian. To get to know this person. Otherwise, what's the point? And I thought about that, and I said, oh, because I was thinking very much like in LA, you know, obviously if you meet someone on an app, you already know so much about them because they've listed their whole backstory. So there isn't really discovery. I think another advantage of not using the apps is that a lot of things are lost in translation online. There's something about meeting somebody in person and picking up that chemistry or that spark from the get-go. You know what I mean? So some of that is missed, I feel, like online. Again, I'm just talking about today. I'm not saying like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Yes, I know the mayor of New York met his wife on Hinge, I think it was. Again, that was not in 2026. The landscape has changed. Me personally, yeah, I'm not really sure if I'm if I'm really interested in dating right now, just because I recently moved. Life is a little bit stressful at the moment. Things are very hectic. As I've mentioned before, you know, my parents passing away. We're still dealing with sorting all of the red tape and bureaucracy that surrounds, you know, when you lose a parent, and it's all in French. So there's that. And also just at this age, I don't know. I feel like Tracy Ellis Ross in the respect that I don't want to be with someone unless they are adding something wonderful to my life. And a lot of these men are crazy. Like, I want to protect my peace. I don't want any drama in my life. I mean, do I miss some aspects of, I don't know, having that male energy around in a way that's, you know, not just platonic. I have male friends, of course. Yeah, I do, but at the cost of what? I don't understand. On the other side of like perimenopause, menopause, yeah, I don't. I have like no patience for nonsense. I don't. Or drama. I don't. I look back on what I tolerated when I was younger, and it was not good. And moving forward, yeah, I don't know. I like my life, and I don't want to have somebody in it who's going to disrupt it. And men are acting crazy. So I don't know. They need to get it together. Okay, I shouldn't say that because I'm generalizing. Not all men, but always a man, it seems. Anyway, all this to say, yeah, I might do a separate video about that because it's spring and I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, it's spring, love is in the air. And also I live in Italy, and there's a lot of very charming gentlemen in my age range, a little younger, a little older. You know, I have to say, like, it's a different vibe than my age range, stateside. And my fellow American women, Gen X women, elder millennials, you know of what I speak. So we'll see. And I feel like romance is not dead. Wrapping up, yes, it is possible to find a wonderful person to date in Italy. You just have to be more, I would say, aware of the cultural differences and not lose your head and buy into this fairy tale that is fed to us by Hollywood and, books and things like that. Could it happen? Yes. I have friends who have met the love of their life literally walking down the street. A very good friend who met her husband when she was leaving the supermarket. She had already moved to Italy. She was living in Rome, and that's how they met. And at first she was like, what? But they met for a coffee, or I think they even went for a coffee. And it just continued. She took her time. They've been married for like over 10 years. It is possible. Love is love, and who doesn't love love? But again, don't lose your head. Just be smart about it. And if you want to get on the apps, do so. Talk to your friends who are already on the apps. It seems from what my younger friends are telling me, great for hooking up, not so great if you're looking for a relationship. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on this subject because I receive so many DMs from people who are like, what's the dating scene like? And then from Black women who are like, hey, so I hear Italian men love Black women. How has your experience been? And so that's why I feel like I had to make this video. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I hope this video was interesting and answered some of your questions. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, thank you for helping the algorithm and grow the channel. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Ciao for now.